Several bad puns later.
Being an ENTP, we are probably one of the most impatient of all types. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can guarantee I'm not patient by nature. I would say that suffering will actually increase your patience. You know, having children will increase your patience. Being married will increase your patience. You know, getting divorced will increase your patience. Everything increases your patience, man. But
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, I do think that there are some YouTubers that have been on YouTube for a very long time, and they're not doing a good job. You know, even their content is not it. Like, for example, when I see myself, like, at least I'm giving and I'm bringing values to people that are watching. At least at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I've done something with my YouTube channel. Maybe it doesn't look fresh, it's not refined, but the content is there. You know, like the minds and the souls that are gonna see it, they're gonna be impacted by the content instead of how it looks like.
Right.
But how it looks like is important as well. I'm not justifying my laziness. You know, at some point I'll have to hire someone to do this for me. But investment has to be, you know, like, I believe that if I do not attract anybody to watch my content, then there is no point of continuing.
No, that's like I said earlier.
I give the full essence of it, and then people, like the viewers and the subscribers, will judge if they like my content or not, if they want to see me or not. If they don't want to see me, I have nothing to do here. I have lots of things to do outside.
Exactly.
Why would I stay here?
See, I have another channel. I mean, I can't wait to spend more time building my content where I'm taking drone footage of waterfalls, incorporating it with my non-lyrical music and nature sounds, and that's on my Inspire channel. So, you know, if I wasn't getting the audience that I truly feel that I'm here for them, and I don't see that it's growing fast enough, then I would be thinking like, okay, I'm going to give this maybe another year. Maybe if it's growing fast and it's not growing like super fast, I might maybe 2 years. But I'm giving myself this in advance because I don't want to constrict myself to only doing Club ENTP as a show. But you know, I may want to just focus on doing more of the street ambushes where I just walk into complete strangers suddenly and say, what do you think about Peter Pan? Or what do you think about the Wizard of Oz? Which witch was the wickedest witch of the Wizard of Oz? And, you know, those things get people, you know, they provoke people to think in a different way. And I love that, looking at their body language. I love to study body language. And I love the things like, oh, wait, I should know this, shouldn't I, you know? And I just love the reaction when I give them something that's counterintuitive to what they have been brought up all these years to conform to believing that Peter Pan's the good guy. You know, the good witch is, you know, Glenda the good witch or whatever her name is. You know, these are things that are, I think it's just like when you learn that the Federal Reserve isn't federal. It's like, what? I challenge my thinking. I like someone like you to challenge my thinking. I like it when people, you know, if I wasn't completely understanding and sold on the fact that I'm an ENTP, if I wasn't sure, like maybe you might not be, I'd be absolutely welcoming everybody to see what they thought about me. And but the problem with that would be you'd get 16 different answers. That's what you'd get. And I think that's part of the joy about typing people on, you know, I like to type celebrities. I like to, you know, think about past relationships, what they were, my friends that have passed on, things like that. And I like to imagine what historical characters were also, like, you know, the Buddha or the Christ, or, you know, I will stop, you know, where there may be disrespect. I wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I do want to be respectful. I'm not like Conor McGregor, even though I'm 50% Irish. That guy, man, I'm telling you. I just want to talk about UFC.
What is the other
We're like,
50%?
I am also a Russian Jewish bloodline, like Hebrew. So my last name wasn't really it was the name of the hotel that my bloodline was actually in when they were in Austria, going into Germany. And then they moved into Germany with a German name. And so that's my bloodline. And I've known this my whole adult life, but I've never been really raised in any kind of, with no culture from that bloodline at all. I was raised Catholic until I was old enough to say that, this isn't for me. And I started exploring all different denominations. And I've never closed myself down to talking about, other religions. I'm fascinated by them. I'm fascinated by the things that make us different and how much similarity there may be. These are things, that's why I'm like, hey, let's talk about religion and politics, okay? It's like, nobody wants to do that except for ENTPs, is that we want to we want to see what how they react, and for you're very bombastic in your beliefs about the male and female roles. I think that it in some cases, it is something that is missing in our society today. I used to have a talk show that I would when I was raising my daughter, I actually let her hear the Tom Likas show. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but he was in LA. I actually was acquainted with him. I worked for the same Viacom. I worked for the same station he did in Infinity Broadcasting, and he would start off the show with, "It's a Tom Likas show. This is where America talks about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk show, And he would always argue about how men and women could never be friends, and it would piss off the callers to no end, man. The callers would be like, "You're just a fascist show with this pig," and da-da-da-da-da. He's like, well, you listen to the show, aren't you, baby? You are. Yeah, you know what you need. You need a good crack in the ass. That's what you need. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, he's teaching men how women think, and more importantly, teaching women how men think and how we see them. And I think it's missing, and I would love to see you take your show into some direction like that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the guy, but I could send you some links, because he's been eliminated. They eliminated an entire station full of talk radio hosts that were all my friends down in LA. And in one day, they were gone. But have you ever heard of Tom Likas?
Wow. No, I've never heard of him. I'm not very familiar with the American culture, except what is obvious and famous.
I'm not really either.
Had to live there.
I'm disconnected.
To be familiar.
Yeah, I'm so disconnected. I've watched one movie in almost 3 years, and I don't watch television. I have a koi pond. I sit there and just meditate and I even study the body language of my fish, and you can even see the communication. You could see which ones are male, which ones are female. And I think that is where you really have a passion, insight into the male psyche of how to deal with the fairer sex, which you've already given so much respect to. Perhaps ladies out there who might jump to conclusions about your opinions might not understand your view of women in your culture, which puts women above men. Women
Especially
your
are
mother,
very
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Of course, the mother is very important, and my mom isn't like other women, in my opinion, and no women can take her position in my life.
Right.
And this is like a part of our culture, and she educates the whole family, and like everything is on her shoulders, and the man is just there to be the reality check, to make sure that the kids don't get locked up, and give them proper education on
Discipline.
where are the limits, where are the limits, what you could do, what you couldn't, and like it depends on the level of healthiness of the man that is leading that family. So yeah, like if there are, if I would say that there are some shitty people, shitty men, yeah, they do exist. Are there out there some good men that are willing to lead very well the education of their children? Yeah, they do exist as well. So it's case by case, and everyone have their own role to play. Like you cannot play the role with two dominant or two people that are hammering. You know, like you need to play good cop, bad cop with the kids. You know, like you need, like the mother is gonna. Usually, I'm not saying for everyone. Like I'm talking about generally in the majority. It would be like the lady would be emotional, would teach her kids about emotions and how to not give up on themselves and how to be selfless at the same time, you know, like avoid the extremes. And the father will teach on how to make money, how to get a balanced life, a financial and professional life. I believe since men are more oriented that way, or at least if they're flexible and they're smart enough, they could walk through the life of their kids into taking them to their full potential.
You mentioned your mother is a very strong-willed woman, correct?
Yeah, she's definitely very strong, and yeah, she's feminist, and we did clash a lot. We did clash a lot since she wanted me to see life through her eyes and accept what she believes a man should be.
So that
And
means
then
she wanted you
that
to
is
pee
my
sitting
wants
down.
and my wills.
Sorry. I said, so she meant, so what basically that means is she wanted you to pee sitting down? Is that what?
You're gonna get
I'm going to
a
get
lot of
somebody in
problems
trouble.
pulling these jokes.
That is a very,
Sounds like
very,
a lot of trouble.
oh yeah. You know, I've been married and divorced with, I've told you, I picked from the same tree twice. They were both Romanian.
Why?
You know, I don't know, but there is a lot of people would look at them and say, "Oh, you chose them because they look like almost sisters. They're very beautiful." And yeah, I think most Romanian women are beautiful, and I think there's a very strong similarity. But they're also both ENFJs, so they're both very intuitive, very extroverted, and high maintenance. Remember, you brought up that extroversion, high maintenance
Talk a
connection.
lot.
A lot, yeah. And it's
They
great
never
because,
shut up.
and I can talk to them in both languages too, so that's great. So I speak Romanian. It's a very beautiful language, and I've used music and writing in Romanian and and learning Romanian songs to understand the language very quickly. I learned it in 3 months. I was speaking fluently, and after 6 months of being immersed into the culture, Romanian community, beautiful Romanian community, I married into it, and and then I had all these other brothers and sisters. It was like amazing, great people, wonderful people. So. And this from a man who got through high school without having to learn a second language. I like squeezed out of it. It was required, but I got away with it. Don't you love getting away with stuff? Like secretly down deep inside. Don't you love it? Is that just an ENTP thing? Because
Feels good.
it feels awesome. Like you don't have to play by the rules. You're too smart. You're special. You're impervious to, the democracy that governs the rest of the planet. He's just like, I do what I want. and
Yeah, definitely. Like,
it is an immaturity, but it's a spirit. It comes from a spirit that's free. Like we are free. We have to be free. And if we're not, then we find another place.
I don't know. It seems like some rules do not make sense to me,
It's
and
gotta make sense.
if they do not make sense to me, then I don't see the purpose of following a dumb rule.
Yeah.
It's as simple as this.
Yeah, it has to make sense. So, and when they don't, they don't. And honestly, yeah, we can talk about breaking the rules, but I mean, you live in a very rule-driven society in Morocco, so I won't push you to too many exploratory stories because I have a whole bunch of them.
I mean, like breaking the rules. Some common sense, like some rules that make sense. Like for example, a speed limit. If you go too fast, you're gonna crash. If you crash, it will count as suicide. Like religiously speaking, that's
But
what.
you're an ENTP. Speed limit? You mean the slowest you can drive? Okay.
No, like I mean, when I was younger, I was a jackass. But
Yeah.
like when you mature and stuff, like you start to see some sense in things, and you also seek for peace and harmony somehow, but not always. Like there are some reasons why you could break the speed limit. It's if there is an emergency, like there are some points in your
feel
driving
like it.
license that you could sacrifice, like for a good cause, and at least if something bad happened to you, at least you were going for the right thing instead of
Yeah,
just
yeah.
being a jackass. And
Yeah.
like it feels good. I love speeding and stuff, but
Yeah.
at some point, like you have to choose between doing the right thing and then doing what feels good. Like following what you feel is gonna put you in a very twisted situation
Yeah.
at some point. Like you can escape it as much as you want, but at some point you're not gonna escape it. I've witnessed some of my friends having horrible deaths.
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh yeah,
speed
that's
kills. It's true.
awful.
It's
Yeah.
true. I don't want to
This is
encourage that, but I mean, but when we got away with it, when we're hitting 125 miles an hour, and we're already like thinking about what our excuse is going to be if we do get pulled over, it's just for fun. I mean, it's all fun until someone loses, a loved one, and that's not fun. And so when we get old enough to put ourselves in other people's shoes and maybe see enough tragic outcomes of things like speed, which I have, of course, I don't drive 125 miles an hour anymore. I don't even own a sports car, so it's not even gonna happen for me. But I'm not interested in doing that. That's not fun. I won't even go. I don't even care to go on the amusement park extreme rides. I used to live in Orange County, California, and San Diego, and it was year round. Disneyland, that's not the rides, but you got Six Flags, you got Buena Park there, Knott's Berry Farm. Those are awesome rides. And and at your age, when I was down there, living, I was a young father like you. I mean, you're not necessarily a father, but I was a young 32-year-old father living in Orange County. And I was your typical Disneyland dad. We're just taking the kids off to, extreme, water sport parks and things. And that all the thrill is great. But once you hit about 40, I think, maybe for most men, I mean, I'm 53, so I would say that right around 40, we start thinking, my kids really need me. I mean, I'm having fun, but I got to grow up. Like I got to do the responsible thing. I'll keep my feet on the ground. I mean, there's a chance that maybe that roller coaster is going to get stuck upside down. I mean, you start thinking about that. Like I've made it this far, and I think it always reminds me. This is so stupid, but I always think, why are these old people driving so damn slow? I'm like, move faster, man. You're running out of time. Like, get off the road. And I used to live in Laguna Hills, so there's this place called Leisure Town. And, if you're not prepared to get into a traffic jam of golf carts at 12 o'clock noon, just stay in your backyard. But yeah, it was Leisureville. So when I went to the store to buy anything, it was like I'd have to go through, layers of elderly and their coupons that they would be dishing out. It's like, are you guys serious? You're about to die. There's a golf course outside the store, and your golf cart is right there. Why don't you just pay in cash, since you could never spend the amount of money that you have in your bank account, and go enjoy it and speed. Go very fast. Get it over with. And get to where you got to go before you can't get there. And I mean, am I being insensitive? Yeah. And that's probably okay. But yeah, that's like, some things make me go, like, why do they spell phonically, non-phonically? Like, you should spell it the way it is, with an F, not a PH. But
I mean, what I think about old people, and what you just said right now, that when we are young, we're full of energy, and our bodies are functioning properly up at its peak, definitely at its peak. So we have goals, and we want to reach destinations, and we want to experience things, and we want to live fully, and we want to live really fast. And as soon as our body starts to give up on us, we kind of slow down. Everything slows down to the point that we have a different perspective on life, and we start to cherish the small things, and every second, like it's like when you're young, you want to go super fast. You don't care about time. You care about results and reaching destination. But when you grow old, you want to hold on to time, because you know that your end is near. If you don't realize it consciously, unconsciously, you know that you're getting closer. Every time your body is giving you a sign, you kind of slow down and let it, go at a very slow pace. I don't know. Like, that's how I see it. What do you think?
Well, you're too young to really have that great of a view, but that's definitely a new perspective on the matter. I'm thinking more in the lines of it's really just fear. Like, for instance, I can't speak for anyone that wasn't, an ENTP, but as for me, like a risk taker, a daredevil, to finally be like, I don't have to go on that extreme, roller coaster. I mean, I want to go upside down and feel zero gravity, and I want to go skydiving. I want to get into a, swift glider and fly around. But then I start calculating the potential of something going wrong. Is it really worth it? Because I actually have some other goals and some other precious things that require my being there, like being a father. And it doesn't really sink in right away when you're a dad. Like, you still like, I want to go on those rides. I want to go, get the adrenaline, go from 0 to 85 in like 3 seconds or whatever. You want that thrill, but you eventually just kind of like, when your kids mean so much to you that they start really, really building your FE. I mean, you're really starting to see the world, and you're now trying to be a balance in that little system, that ecosystem. And that's why it's so nice to not deal in that ecosystem as an ENTP. We can just go out and be free, go out into a public place and be a spectacle. Not in a bad way, but be in a positive way. Like, you walk into a restaurant and they're singing happy birthday in a very amazing way, and you just walk over to that table and go, you know what, actually, that was incredible. And for that, I'm gonna do a song for you, and just do a, whatever song, I mean, I've got my own birthday song. So, but getting back to where we all just kind of looped around, and we always do as ENTPs, we kind of start with one thing and we just go around in a big circle, and we loop around, and we finally get back to the point that we're trying to make. Meanwhile, encountering squirrel after squirrel after squirrel. But so how you been, my friend? All the way from Morocco.
Very good.
Awesome.
Very good.
Yes. Just got over
about you?
that Ramadan fast.
Yeah, it was awesome. It is awesome,
How
and
long do
it
you
cleans the
fast?
body.
How long? What's the schedule like?
From from sunrise to sunset,
Yeah,
and it's 1 month.
1 month, right? 1 month to do
Yeah,
that.
one
Yeah,
lunar month.
it's interesting. I know that they do that in some sects of Christianity. The fasting. I think it's universal in Judaism as well. I mean, it's important. And does anybody want to stop eating? No, they don't. They just want to just keep feeding their face, man. But
Definitely.
it
But it feels
learns.
so good.
Yeah, we learn so much when we go without something. I mean, I don't eat usually just once a day, and it gives my body a chance to autophagy. If you've been familiar with that term,
Yeah.
I use a water diet. I have a well on the ranch here, so I can drink really great pure water. And then in the summer months, I have a vineyard, so I live off of grapes for however long I can. I have 155 cherry trees, so I like to eat the tart ones. They're really good for your heart, tart for the heart. And yeah, and I've got plums and whatever else I plant in my garden. I always have a license that I'm legally growing all my crops. I don't want to grow some illegal tomatoes, you know. So or
That's
anything.
important to mention.
Yes, tomatoes can be very, very dangerous. Let me show you something. All right, that's my Fire Marshal Bill impression. I promise I won't bring that up again. But we were talking about the response video to being attacked by host Eric, talking with famous people. And it was then I was being attacked for attacking back. Like, oh, ENTPs don't do that. Oh no, we do. We do, but we do it if we're creative and we're wise, we can make it a very long, sustainable attack and profitable too. We don't do everything for malicious reasons isn't really enough. It has to be principles and and even if you can monetize it, good for you. And I know I'm making host Eric a lot of money every time he puts out a video. He put out 4 videos of me in one day, and they're all just going right off the chart. I love it. I'm happy, but because that just means more exposure for Club ENTP, and then that trickles down to you. So when you put me on your show, the algorithm says, "Oh, hey, who's this guy interviewing? What? He's interviewing Club ENTP? Really? Wow!" So I'd recommend you use that for your thumbnail.
Definitely.
So, anyways, so it's been a fun 48 hours. I've been riding this incredible high of the algorithm, like just going nuts, berserko, because I made a response video to host Eric for his attacks, and they were well anticipated by me. And so I am really enjoying the chaos that I created. So it's beautiful. I hope all your members know the backstory, but it's all kind of developing. So if you're new, jump in now. It's look up YouTube drama, baby. That's what it is. Well, maybe not baby, but YouTube drama, hashtag, of course. And yeah, it's fun. This is a way to build your channel. And fortunately, you need controversy. You need some shit show going on, and that's exactly what I've been producing. Are you having some more audio?
The people what they want.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were talking about the necessity, should I say, yeah, of really calling out certain individuals and having fun with it, but at the same time, I'm making a serious point. And when you endanger the lives of children, when you use little baby dolls, and strange that he unclothes them, and I don't know if he is looking for a pedophilic audience, but the man is disturbed, and it's time that people understand that that's not a healthy ENTP. And the fact that he wants to draw all of the attention to himself, for anyone looking to understand what an ENTP is and how we function, Just because he wears dirty clothes and doesn't take care of his appearance and doesn't care about his background, he's only that way because he's not developed enough to be a part of, a viable part of society. And we have to look a certain way. We have to act a certain way. We can't just be a complete self-absorbed a-hole all the time and think that that's acceptable behavior. We can get away with it for a long time, but we usually grow up and we realize that we need to commingle and cohabitate and coexist with any number of different personality types. And there are some that are harder and some that are much easier for us ENTPs to get along with without clashing. And I can find excellent friendships in ESTJs, for example. They're the most extroverted of all the types in my understanding, and they don't like to share any kind of platform with anyone. So they like to be the one that's mostly heard. And when you understand that about them, you can give them the satisfaction of perhaps implementing one of your creative ideas, even though you might not be the man to call the shots, because usually the ESTJs are calling the shots, just to be honest. Unless you're a highly developed ENTP, an entrepreneur, and making your own ends. And that's always exciting. And I just sit around all day thinking about business ideas and how to make capital venture gains and in inventions and things that have never been done before, things that have never been fully attempted. So, yeah, I'm rambling.
What have you been working on lately? Like, what have been keeping your mind busy?
Yeah, well, of course, you know that I've just recently revealed my meta-acting for 13 months with an ENTP content creator who was so self-absorbed, so narcissistic that I had to finesse my way onto his show. And of course, we're talking about host Eric and talking with famous people. And I knew that once I would achieve a certain amount of success, that he was going to go after me too. And I knew that my show was going to be a success. And so I started researching it, all the ENTPs, creating anything. I'm still looking for more. And I knew that this one was very unhealthy. And I knew that it was going to take a bit of finesse and time to get to earn his trust. And so I began 13 months. And so now, to answer your question, now that I've revealed, just 2 days ago, I broke all my records. I just went on the first 48 hours and, nearly 600 views on just the one. And the subscribers are going through the roof. I'm super excited about that. I'm almost just kind of taking time away to not check and just I see the progress each time I come back, and I'm trying to answer as many of the interesting comments as I find, and I do want to be that YouTube creator that is there for the people, where they can easily be accessed. Until the time when I can't read all of the emails. And I don't want to get even to that point. I want to be able to read every email. And I want to know everything that's going on and what any questions are that I can answer for anyone. But of course, then there's the understanding that we're going to be attacked as soon as we hit a certain level. So when you find these people that are antagonists, that are hostile towards other players, and you can develop your own little plan, like, well, I want on the show, I want his audience, I'm gonna get on there and nothing's gonna stop me. Like, if I want to meet someone, a celebrity, I'm like, I want to meet that person, I will, most likely I will, not because I want to shake their hand or get their autograph, but because I want to know what they think. And there's many celebrities and political figures that I've been face to face with, and didn't decide to even say anything to reach out my hand or shake them. From anywhere from Ron Paul to The Rock, on the red carpet, and Jessica Alba. It's like, I have nothing to say to these people. Yeah, they're right in front of me. Yeah, he's same height as I am, big guy, but I didn't respect him. I didn't have anything to say to him. I mean, he was a wrestler, but today I think I would actually like to sit down and have a beer with him, or tea or coffee or whatever it is, protein shake. I don't care, maybe ask him, who he really is, because I can't know who he is. He's an actor. He's a man on, even though he was standing in front of me on the red carpet, I didn't care to ask him a single question because I didn't have anything to ask him. I didn't believe anything that would come out of his mouth because he's an actor. So why would I bother? I'm kind of a strange person. I don't respect humans. Like, I don't worship any man. Oh, you're so amazing. Oh, I want your autograph. Man, I can't stand those kind of people. I will avoid you. If you're famous and you're standing in front of me and I don't respect you, I will purposely avoid you and not even look at you in the face. Or if I did, I won't say a word, And there's a lot of those people in Hollywood that I would not meet most ENTPs. I think that most of them that are in Hollywood are sellouts. I would love to have a meeting and a time where I could hang out with Robert Downey Jr. That's one cat I would love to talk to. But you look at all these nighttime talk show hosts, and they're very political, but I think they're political because they're paid to be. I think that they don't really have, like you and me, we're so like, I'm not right or left. I'm super in the middle. Like there's some over here I like, some over here I like, but I'm an independent, and we ENTPs are like the only independents that are on the side of liberty as opposed to authoritarianism. So I'm very libertarian, right? So I became a 2-time elected delegate for Ron Paul, who was potentially a very middle of the road, type of person that I could support. So I ended up I became a politician, and I was elected 2 times, and then I finally said, okay, enough. And I went to my island. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. Because I knew that man wasn't real. He was just an actor. He was just there for a false sense of hope. And I knew that when I saw that his own son didn't vote for him in the primaries, It's like, okay. And he's standing right in front of me, and my kids are like, hey, Dad, shake his hand. I go, why? He's just a man. They're like, okay. And they didn't want to shake his hand either, even though they walk door to door in the snow, knocking on doors, asking if they're going to be voting in a preliminary. I've never done it before. Dude, I never even voted before, man. Never even voted. Didn't care. And I'm talking in my 40s, dude. Like, I am not a political creature. But when somebody tries to sell me something that I think it's a beautiful picture, hey, I bought it, all right? I admit I bought it. And I now see a lot more. I see that, the GOP is corrupt. I see that they're just the same coin, just different sides. It's it, So I like to talk about things that are real, and I love to talk about politics too. Don't get me wrong. I love to ruffle feathers. It's fun to see what people like. And. Now, I mean, we're not living in an environment where we can actually be so forthcoming, as I should say. Yeah, we have to be a little more restrictive in our freedom of speech, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. Like when you have money and power, like you have something to say. When you don't have money and you don't have power, then you just endure. That's
it's feudalism.
That's the rule of life.
Yeah. It is feudalism, but
Society.
I know, and it's like I don't like to be in this state of feudalism that I am, like what you are too, because I think I can do anything, and I think I can change everything, and I'm not going to run for president or any BS like that. I mean, I now really realize that that's like a farce. Like, if you think one man is going to do anything, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
So. I mean, and by the way, host Eric actually thinks he can run for president and win. Is that delusional? I think so, since you've never even heard of the guy before before this controversy happened. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things I'm going to be pointing out in a documentary that I'm making right now about host Eric's channel. I use that term loosely because it's a train wreck, and I'm sorry, trains.